Good evening, everybody. I'd like to welcome you all to the Mashpee School Committee meeting of May 5th. First order of business is the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. First item of business is to approve the agenda for this evening. May I have a motion to so approve?
Sorry, George, I'm behind. Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to approve the agenda for tonight's meeting.
Thank you. The motion made by Nicole. Is there a second?
That was Kathy, but I'll
Sorry,
second.
Kathy. Thank you very much.
I'll second.
Okay, I'm getting my hearing aids this coming week. Believe it or not, it's actually a true story. Okay, motion made by Kathy, seconded by Nicole. Discussion, Kathy? Hearing none, call for the vote. Kathy?
Yes.
Don?
I did have a question for the chair.
Okay.
Under unfinished business, I had brought up in regard to electric buses, if you recall.
That is correct.
What did you ask, Dawn, about?
About the electric buses.
Right, but we said that there was not time from the last meeting to this meeting to gather we have started to gather the information, but we're
No, that would be under unfinished business.
Oh.
I dropped off.
Oh, okay, I see what you're saying.
That's what you're saying. Okay.
Okay. Just so we don't lose it.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
No,
Sorry, I
okay.
should have thought that earlier.
No, no problem. I'll just add that on there to be carried forward. Now, Jeff?
Yes.
Don?
Yes.
Nicole?
Yes.
And George, yes. And first order of business, our student representative, Skylar, welcome.
Hello, good evening everyone. The first thing I have is that many Mashpee High School students have begun or are taking their AP exams this week and in the weeks coming up. That was the first thing. And then spring sports have also gotten into full swing. There's teams and the games have already started, some just as preseason scrimmages, but also some regular games picking up later this week with baseball and boys lacrosse, girls lacrosse, tennis track, softball, everything. And so I know everyone on the middle high school side is happy to have some more sports back. Sophomores Katrina Mayen and Jamie Hughes were recently invited to participate in the world's competition in robotics, which is a major accomplishment for the two of them. If you've seen them do any of their work, it's really impressive. And so I just wanted to support them as they display their excellence in that virtual competition. Relating to that, too, is last Friday at the We Are Mashpee store, the National Technical Honor Society hosted a interactive robotics and sublimation die and 3D printing and drone flying exhibit. It was really dynamic and a lot of fun, and it allowed other students, especially younger students and members of the community, to come in and engage and see what we do in tech and kind of spark an interest, and that was really cool. And then going off of that, last night, the National Tech Honor Society held its induction ceremony, recognizing new members passionate about the technical field, which kind of followed suit to the other virtual inductions that have been going on this year and had some student and teacher and administration speeches. On Monday, our seniors wore merchandise from their chosen colleges, which is very exciting. I know we make decision day kind of a district-wide thing, but it's always super fun seeing the seniors in the halls. And after a long year of working through hybrid learning, they've proved that their excellence is based purely on their resilience. And so congratulations to our seniors. And they've also begun their presentations in Senior Sem, which is a major part of that class, as well as gaining those critical presentation skills. And similar to that, juniors in Junior Seminar are working on drafting professional essays and college essay topics. And so things are going by pretty quick. We're almost done with this school year. Another thing I wanted to add is winter sports. All-stars were announced at the high school side, which is a lot of fun every year. For indoor track, we have freshman Haley Garcia and junior Kalia Eaton and senior Elena Hanna. So it's always great when you can see excellence spread out in so many different grades. And for volleyball, senior captain Maggie Connolly got the All-Star Award, which is really special because she'll be the first ever from Mashpee since this program is so new. And for football, we had senior Jared Barr, Dakota Diaz, Cameron Sweeney, Matt Bowen, and junior Chris Castillo. And so congratulations to all of our athletes. The Blue Falcon Theater Company produced A Night with Shakespeare last weekend, which starred Mashpee Middle High School students. I haven't watched it yet, but I'm sure that I will. And if you guys all want to as well, I definitely recommend it. And it can be viewed on the Mashpee TV YouTube channel, which was a fun and creative way to combat COVID challenges and pursue the arts. Donations for Project 351 Spring Service Clothing Drive are already open at the Mashpee store, and donation bins will be brought to the other schools early next week. And so if you have any children's clothes that are new or like new that you want to donate, Hannah Rogers, Katrina Mayan, Andrew Kelly, and I are all involved in that and would greatly appreciate anything that anyone wants to donate. And so thank you so much. That's what I've got for you.
Thank you very much, Skylar. And I just want to say I've enjoyed your reports all this year, and I'm delighted to be listening to your last one. At least from my viewpoint, I know you will be continuing and will provide the same information, good information. I also was at that affair at last Friday afternoon. It was very interesting, very informative. Any questions from anyone? No? Okay, fine. Thank you very much, Skylar.
Thank you so much.
Okay, see you later. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Do we have a representative from the tribe?
Looks like Darius.
Are you using your mic?
Yes, I am.
Because they were saying online it's like.
I think you have to put your speaker, you're gonna like stand the speaker up, stand it up.
I'll stand it up.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
Thank you.
Is that working better, folks?
Yes.
Yeah.
At home? Thank you very much.
Oh, you got a thumbs up.
I got a thumbs up all over the place. Way to go. It's the first time this year. Is there a representative from the tribe? I'm sorry, I cannot read the screen that far away.
Yeah, it looks like
Yes,
Darius.
Darius.
Is Roxanne? Is Roxanne on?
Sorry, there you are. I'm sorry. How are you?
I think Roxanne's on too, but I'll start off. Ones who don't know me, I'm Darius Coombs. I'm the Mashpee Wampanoag Cultural Outreach Coordinator. I just started a few months ago, come from the museum field, backfield, Plymouth Plantation, was there over 30 years as director of the Wampanoag Indigenous Program. Thanks for having me, guys. I got a few things on my list. What we're doing August 18th is we're developing a one-day conference for teachers in our districts, being the main districts being Barnstable, Mashpee, and Falmouth. And we're working with Collaborative Educational Services, which is out of Northampton, which approves PDPs for the teachers. And we've been working with them for the last few months. And this is going to be a one-day conference, which a lot will be on history, cultural science, and we want to get this approved by the agency so we can get out to you teachers and get you guys signed up, so you guys can get your PDPs and such. And that's more news to be coming. That's on a Wednesday, August 18th of this year, a one-day conference at the Mashpee Government Center, Wampanoag Government Center. Also, this past Monday, we had Falmouth approach us, well, a few weeks ago, a school committee, and they wanted to work on a land acknowledgement, which we've worked with Mashpee before, as you guys know. So we sent Natana Green there, who's Mashpee Wampanoag. We sent Kitty Hendricks, you guys know Kitty, and also Jerry Lassos and Linda Coombs, who's a Quinn Wampanoag, to the school committee. And they developed a PowerPoint, which was elements of consideration for land acknowledgement. Now, from what I hear, this is just last night, it went really well. And so they'll be working with the school committee from Falmouth on that. So what's also very exciting, which I'm really deep in working on right now, I come from the educational field of history, and I'm working on a speakers bureau for you guys, for Mashpee, for Barnstable, Falmouth, and other districts we serve. So you guys will have non-native and native scholars who will give you descriptions of their presentations, which they'll be able to come in live to do presentations. They'll also be doing it on Zoom, because a lot of these people are out of state. And some of the things we'll be talking about, the topics could be cultural history, could be tribal government, could be language, and could be cultural science, and many others to come. I literally have a list of scholars right now that's going on 85 right now. So for each scholar, they'll give a description of what they can do and what they can offer to you guys, so you guys can pick from. And that's all paid for from the state tribal educational partnership grant that we have through the tribe. So that's a huge plus right there for you guys. And for me, I can't wait to get it all together. That's what I have. Roxanne, are you there? Well, that's she said she's trying to get on with her phone. She was hard doing it by Zoom. So I'm not sure if she's on there yet, but that's what we have right now, guys. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any questions?
Thanks, Darius. This is Nicole. Nice to see you, and great updates. So I'm curious, have you and Consuelo met and connected virtually? Okay. You're very close together on the screen, but we need to get you close together in your work, because Consuelo is the district outreach coordinator, and I'm sure that you guys, from what I'm hearing from you and from what I'm hearing from Consuelo, we got to get you guys together, because you're just going to blow the doors off of everything if we combine what you guys are working on. So I don't know if you want us to do that together, but I'm happy to set something up, or Consuelo, if you want to include maybe the outreach working group folks in that would be great. I don't know if Darius is aware that the school committee has an outreach working group, but I think, is it Kathy and Don?
Yes.
Yeah, are on that.
Yeah, you're breaking up. I can barely hear you off and on. You're breaking up, so.
I'll email you.
Hi, Darius. This is Consuelo Carroll. I'm the outreach coordinator for the Mashpee Public Schools. So Nicole was hoping we could get together, which I would love. So maybe tomorrow I'll call. Can I call the Wampanoag Tribal Center and find you there?
Yeah, I'll be at office tomorrow. Sure.
Okay.
You can call our education department. My extension. Well, call the number, tribal number, which is 508-477-0208. And my extension's 162.
162. All right. I will give you a shout out tomorrow.
Okay, sounds good. You sound really clear.
I know it's easier this way.
I know, you might see Roxanne pop on later because she has a few other things she wants to talk about, but we'll see.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, you can.
Hi, Roxanne.
Okay, I do have just a few things. There were about 21 parents who signed the parent consent to share student school data with the tribe. And I now have received a link to Power School from the superintendent, which will allow us as the educators from the tribe to kind of follow our students and intervene and meet with families, with parents, and teachers actually, to help ensure that our students are on the right track and offer any supports and provisions needed. We've also suggested and recommended a programming for the third grade class related to cultural understanding and cultural exchange in order to kind of promote and support diversity and understanding between cultures, families, and community people. And I believe during the next partnership meeting, we'll be addressing that with the group. The tribe is more than willing, and we look forward to helping to bridge that gap of misunderstanding, which is pretty prevalent between families, generations, and then it kind of crosses over into other settings, which in this case it's the school. I wanted you to know that the Tribal Child Care Center had to take a step back, and we've just now again had to identify an architect and an engineering team, and we're awaiting an estimated timeline to be submitted and a cost estimate to pursue the beginning works, which is the ground down, and then it will be the ground up, at which time we'll be looking for a general contractor Once we get the cost estimate and the estimated timeline for this complete work, we will take it to the Tribal Council for approval to engage in contract with the contractors. We're in discussion with Mike Feeney at Falmouth Schools. Again, part of the state tribal education partnership was to utilize the work that we do with Mashpee as a model, and to not necessarily replicate, but to bring our successful activities to different districts on behalf of not just Native kids, but all learners and staff. And so we're in discussion with Mike Feeney at Falmouth Schools to look at the grade 7 social justice curriculum and topics related to Native Americans, as well as the 8th grade civics curriculum. And one of their ideas is to focus on Supreme Court cases that affect Native Americans, and also to research landmark cases, gaming, hunting, and fishing rights. After the MCAS, Tribal Education will begin work with Brian Brody to supplement the 8th grade civics curriculum at Mashpee. And I think we expect to work with Megan McCauley to discuss and offer enhancements for the Native American History course at Mashpee Middle High School. Jerry Lassos, our educational equity consultant, met with Quashnet School Social Studies team on Monday of last week to discuss grade 3 through 6 needs, his role and the lessons that he can actually provide for each of those teams. They are working with him closely, and he'll be creating lessons that align to their current curriculum. And I think the tribe is also working to contact Native seniors, and I think maybe there's 4 at Mashpee. What we'd like to do is profile them on Mashpee TV, profile their experience in school, what they're doing currently, and what they look forward to doing, whether it's working or going to school. And the other part we would like to highlight is having them really kind of highlight who they are within the tribal community, who are their folks, who are their grandparents, and expect that our tribal people will be able to know who they are and relate to them, but not only them as graduating seniors, but them as members and progeny of our ancestors. And I think the last thing is that we just were awarded a Bridges to College grant from Department of Elementary and Secondary Education, and that is focused on individuals ages 18 to 30, and it will provide funds for ABE, GED preparation, testing. It'll help with transportation and even childcare, as well as the first semester at Cape Cod Community College. So we're working with our consultant, John Hanlon, who also works at the college, as well as our employment and training program manager, Marnell Cash. And hopefully we'll be hearing more about this in the near future. But I also wanted to thank the school committee and the administration and Nicole, especially for the award received by the National School Board Association, the Magna Grant. And I just want to congratulate you for the work. Again, what I do like to say, because it's true, is that oftentimes you guys keep us on our toes, and you don't sit back and wait for us to offer or suggest or to recommend. And I think it's a great partnership, and I, as the education director, appreciate what I am learning from all of you, and expect that the partnership will grow and prosper. So thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you very much.
Thanks,
Questions?
Roxanne.
Questions?
Are you guys going to be sticking around?
I don't believe so.
Well,
Brian?
it
What was the
okay?
question? I didn't quite hear it.
I didn't know if you guys were going to be staying on or not. We were going to discuss a few post-Magna items and later in the agenda, but I'm happy to share those now while you're on. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm about to forward you guys an email. I did hear back. So one of the reach outs that we got from the NSBA presentation at the annual conference was from Gary Montoya, who is the school committee chairman for the Consolidated United School District in New Mexico on the Navajo Reservation. And he's very excited to connect with us, and they have a dedicated outreach office for student services. I believe her name is Dr. Lopez. And so we're setting up an initial meeting with them. It looks like they want to meet maybe later this week to just chat and get to know each other. But my hope is that we might be able to have someone from their school committee and district talk to us at the joint Mashpee School Committee Tribal Council meeting that we're planning for this summer. So that was one thing I wanted to, and I had sent you some emails on that, Roxanne, so you might find those in your inbox, but I don't have Darius's email, so if you could just share those with him, that would be great.
Certainly.
And then the second thing I think is something maybe Patty might want to mention about the Cahoon Museum.
Yes, so we had a meeting with the Cahoon Museum, who also reached out, I believe, to Nicole after the Magna Award publicity, I guess. And we had a really good, productive meeting with them, and they are bringing some programming. Mostly it will start in, was it January of next year, into the spring, but definitely with native information to share, and they are very interested in working with the tribe as well, sort of this partnership. And one of the things we focused on was trying to get our families involved with that kind of an education, because that's where we're going to make the shift for our kids, is a lot through the families. So that's pretty exciting. We have often gone to the Cahoon Museum, but we have not been sort of as proactive as this. And they also have a new outreach director or coordinator, and so that would be a good little triad to get together as well.
Well, what is the name of the museum? Where are they at again?
It's the Cahoon Museum. It's right in Marston's Mills. It's right on 28. The Cahoon,
Oh, yeah.
the blue
Yeah.
trees.
Oh. Okay. Yes, I did see those emails. That'll be good. We'll look forward to that.
That's all I had.
Okay, anyone else?
Okay.
Okay, well, thank you both very much for joining us this evening.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Peace canonical.
Peace canonical.
Okay. And next is Nurse Stacy.
Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me? Just checking. Thank you. So we'll start with the data dashboard. As you can see, April was a busy month with everybody now all fully back in for visits. More testing as was anticipated because of travel, but that went really well. So our numbers for total positive cases for students in April was 14 with 51 close contacts and no staff positives for April. So things are looking pretty good right now. Any questions on that part of the data dashboard?
Anyone?
And you do have the more up-to-date one on your table, which is only a few days different from the packet.
Thank you. Anyone? Okay, go ahead, Stacy, please.
Okay, and then secondly, on pool testing, we had our 6th week this week with all 9 pools negative. We had 5 new students sign up this week, so that will start on Monday the 10th. So we have a total of 16 staff and 70 students signed up for 86 individuals participating. We've had 364 pooled tests completed with 1 positive. So that's moving along quite well, and every week I get a few more inquiries, so hopefully we'll continue with that, building with more interest. And that is, again, going well. Does anybody have any questions about the pool testing?
Anyone? Okay, thank you, Stacy.
Okay, and then lastly, vaccination clinics. The staff vaccination second clinic for the Mashpee Wampanoag tribe. 127 people, staff, and Mashpee Public School community members that were able to attend. Attended both sessions, and that completed and went well. And this Friday, we have our first student vaccination clinic hosted by the Chief Rulo with the Mashpee Fire Department in conjunction with the Community Health Center of Cape Cod and Karen Gardner. So we have 13 students signed up to participate on this Friday's clinic. Many have already received their first dose at other clinics, especially the clinic that was held through the fire department in conjunction again with the Community Health Center last Friday on April 30th. So individuals who want to receive a vaccine are able to this Friday if individuals are interested. 16 and up, including parents, may sign up. You can email me if you haven't seen the link in Mrs. DeBoer's email. There is still time to sign up, but you do need to register. So vaccination clinics are going well across the Cape. The demand is less than it was, so everybody that wants or needs a vaccination is able to access it. You may have heard this week that they will be releasing 12 to 15-year-olds, hopefully approved for next week, and there are plans that we'll be able to have other clinics sponsored in the same partnerships that we have now for students who want access to that. So that is moving forward, and then it looks like the anticipation is 2 and up will be able to be vaccinated by September. So more will go, but we'll continue with the partnerships and collaborations and clinics, so anybody who wants a vaccination will have access to one.
Thank you. Questions?
Any other questions?
I do.
Don?
So I heard that the governor is considering.
Don, she
Can't hear you.
Yeah, can you hold that, face it towards her?
Okay. Can you hear me now? How about now?
Little better.
Is the volume all the way up?
Volume's all the way up. I'll try to shout. So the governor is starting to talk about whether or not there would be mandatory vaccination requirements for kids. I know they haven't made any conclusions, or at least I haven't seen anything come out absolute one way or the other.
Don, I can't hear you again, but I think you're asking if vaccinations will be required.
Yes.
Given that vaccines are not, they're still under an emergency authorization, a requirement will not be forthcoming at any time soon.
Good enough. I think that's an evolving discussion, but,
All right,
okay, thank you.
you're welcome. Anyone else?
I'll just quickly say on behalf of the committee and you know, the families and staff and everyone in Mashpee, Stacy, you know, having that successful second clinic and getting all those people, and you were just so instrumental in that. So thank you for standing out there in that sloppy weather and directing everybody yet again. And we really appreciate all your efforts. You're really making a difference in this community, so thank you.
You're welcome. My pleasure. It really is a team effort, and I've decided I am definitely not a meteorologist. So I'm not gonna get my day job. So thank you.
Well, you can't do it all. That's good.
Definitely not good on that.
Okay, fine. Thank you very much, Stacy. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you all.
Public comment?
There's nothing in the chat at this time.
Thank you. Approval of the minutes of the April 14th meeting, which are in your packet. Chair will entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
I do have an edit.
Say again?
I have an edit.
An edit, okay?
In regard to under new business, the discussion about the electric buses that is not included in the minutes for, just to keep a placeholder for that discussion.
Under item 14?
Yeah.
Okay. A note to add to the minutes discussion on buses. Is that covered?
Yeah. Look at it and I'll make a motion to approve.
A motion to approve as edited has been made by Don. Is there a second?
I'll second.
A motion has been seconded. Discussion, Don?
Yeah.
None? Anyone else? Okay, hearing none. How do we vote? Kathy?
Yes.
Jeff?
Yes.
Don?
Yes.
Nicole?
Yes.
And George, yes. Minutes are approved. The report of the superintendent.
Okay, so school year 2021 is moving along. So we are in our second week of basically being back 100%. We still have some grade levels with a certain percentage of students who are remaining remote, but it is really uplifting to go in all of the classrooms and see basically, in most cases, a student in every seat. Our students, in my opinion, are really amazing. They all take the mask wearing very seriously. They all hit the hand sanitizer quite often. They're well sort of, not trained, but in the routine of school in terms of keeping everyone safe. The lunchrooms are full with individual seating, all sitting in the same direction without masks but 6 feet apart. Those are going well. I have to give a shout out to Gus Stickley and his crew for really managing the sort of to-go concept this year, and it's been very successful. I also want to give a shout out, this is Teacher Appreciation Week, and although every week really should be Teacher Appreciation Week, and particularly this year we're trying to do our best to show our gratitude to this team of individuals who without them we would not be having a successful school year. They consistently go above and beyond, and as many ways as we can find to help them feel special this week, and moving forward we're searching to do. They do get ice cream on Friday, which is one little perk, but and hopefully if whatever comes in tomorrow gets here on time, they'll get another little treat tomorrow from the central office. Also tomorrow is National School Nurses Day, and so it is an extra special time as well to recognize not only Stacy but her team of nurses in this district who this year have done pretty much all of their normal tasks as well as many, many more, as have the teachers as well. Everyone seems to have done 212 the extra degree of effort this year. The Cape and Islands Workforce Board, in terms of acknowledgements, it's in the packet. They are very generous partners with the Mashpee Public Schools, and there's a letter in here that they are thrilled to award the Mashpee High School additional connecting activity stipends. These stipends are the result of the increase the CIWB received, which would not have been possible without the hard work and dedication from our educators and administrators. The additional funds were awarded in the following manner: $3,500 specific for innovation pathway education, $3,500 for the purchase of a mannequin for the STEM/medical terminology class, and $1,500 to be used specifically for the hackathon, which was just this past weekend. So through Carol Galvin's leadership and her team and that board, we really hugely appreciative of that partnership and the opportunities we've been able to bring our kids through this partnership. Also, so there is a letter in there that went to the staff this week. Also, I want to acknowledge the National History Day Award winners. We had 2 juniors at Mashpee Middle High School, Owen Balfour and Robert Sanborn. They were recognized that they earned an award at the Massachusetts National History Day competition. The event was held virtually this year. In the senior division, Owen and Robert won the David Sears Award, Best Project in Military History. They created a website entitled The War of the Words, the Office of War, Information Operations during World War II and its importance to Allied victory. And then a shout out to Kirsten Bohl, one of our social studies teachers at the high school, for coordinating that event and making sure our students competed. Skyla did mention the National Technical Honor Society induction, which was that last night? Last night. And just, I want to shout out to Ian Cook, Madeline Cook, Kalia Eaton, Jamie Hughes, Brady Johnston, David Kopp, Ethan Liu, Katrina Mayen, Daniel Murphy, Skylar Rimple, Julia Tenori, and Sean Ware were all new inductees into that organization for this year. Oh, sorry. I do want to say that we are well underway for planning for prom, which is going to be Saturday, May 29th. That is the Saturday of Memorial Day weekend. We are having our 2 very large graduation tents erected the Thursday before, possibly Friday morning, but the goal is Thursday. So they will already be set up in the rental company. We'll basically be able to provide, similar to if we were planning an outdoor wedding, there will be a dance floor, there will be a DJ, tables with linens and real cutlery and china. We will be having food trucks that will be positioned along the track. We'll still have a promenade for parents to enjoy prior to. And so far, the plans are going well. We are going to have a fancier blouse house and also giving some thoughts if it happens to be buggy that night. So the kids are happy about that. It is a senior-only prom. Unless your date is in a different grade, then you're obviously allowed to bring that person. And let's see, what else do we have? We do have a schedule for MCAS, which is not a popular topic, but I thank the administrators at the Quashnet School and the Mashpee Middle High School for putting their plans in place. I do have it as a handout if the committee would like it, but at the Quashnet School, the English Language Arts for grades 3 to 6 is only one session this year, and it'll be May 20th. Mathematics is one session for all grades at the Quashnet School, and that's May 21st. And then Science and Technology is one session for grade 5, and that is the 27th of May. And then at the Mashpee Middle High School, grades 7 and 8, their English Language Arts is only one session, May 18th. Mathematics in grades 7 and 8 is one session on May 19th. Then English Language Arts for grade 10 is the traditional MCAS, which is 2 sessions. It will be on the 18th and the 19th of May. Mathematics for grade 10 is also 2 sessions. That will be the 25th and 26th of May. Science and Technology for grade 8 is one session, May 25th. And then finally on the Science for grade 9, which is biology, 2 sessions, June 1st and June 2nd. We are encouraging and doing the best we can to work with families of remote learners to have them come in and take their grade levels exam at a time that works best for not only probably the family, but particularly the school. Those students will be 6 feet apart in a different location, and then they would only come for that test. So that is the hope that we have for our remote learners in order to facilitate that. In the packet, you also have the enrollments. And I don't know if anyone has any questions on the enrollments.
Can we go back to MCAS for a second?
Sure.
So that I don't see that information in the packet. Is it on the school website so that people know when these dates are?
Well, it's been in 2 Friday communications so far, and it will be it can be added to the website. But it has been.
I asked for it, and here it is. Thanks. You just printed that out in the back?
Yes, we did.
Okay, that's perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And are MCAS results used for placement?
Placement in classes?
Yeah, like do we use it if you're going from one school to the next? Are MCAS results used to identify what class? I mean, obviously not at the elementary level, but like advancing grades.
No, the timing of the MCAS results don't generally lend themselves to contributing to that process.
Okay.
But we do generally analyze that data in the fall.
Okay.
And then we would, obviously if something is a mismatch, generally a student's performance does match their regular school academic performance, but if there are outliers, then we look into that. Because there can be.
So I would love to turn around and look at you to say this, but I can't. So I was just going to say that, I was one of those parents that was seriously considering opting out of MCAS because I was so frustrated with the state for making us do it. I don't know what you've been serving to these kids in school, but my kids are like, it's okay, we can take it. And I was like, okay, I guess I don't have to worry about that. But so I just have to give some credit to the teachers and sort of the way this has been socialized in the district with the students, because the stress that I was hearing from my kids and other kids a few weeks ago, I'm not hearing that anymore. So I don't know if that's true, if I'm a representative sample, but I think whatever you did, it was right. So
Not statistically or not.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, but so I don't know if there was some deliberate efforts to sort of explain why this was happening and what it was going to be like this year, but it seems to have made a difference. So thank you for that.
Well, maybe it was part of sort of getting, with a couple of weeks under our belts where everyone's back in, it's feeling a little, maybe less focus on, I don't know, the worry of COVID maybe is sort of waning a little bit because they're feeling a little bit more normal. But we do want to emphasize, we want kids to do their best, but we don't, the best we can do to alleviate adding anxiety to a student for this process, we're going to try to say the right words to do that, because we're going through it because it's a requirement that we do. The majority of us, are in sync with it not being the most beneficial activity for our students, but we will.
Yes, so the only requirement, the only thing the state requires our seniors to take MCAS to, like, was that waived this year?
It was the, they've done several competency determination different ways for the seniors who might have not passed when they were sophomores. The current 11th grade one was put on hold. Are they going to possibly have to take that next year?
No,
They gave them a year.
Okay, that's the one I'm thinking of.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, so next year seniors don't have to. So it's this year's sophomores.
Okay. All right, and you know how I feel about ASLP. ASLP relies on, we use MCAS results to identify these kids that are eligible for ASLP. So I don't know anything about whether that program's running this summer.
No, so it's not.
Okay.
According to Paul Hilton, they tried to be as creative as they can, but it's not something
Okay.
we can do this year. But you are right, that is a factor for that. But we would look at it differently in future years if they were affected by, taking it this year.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
The only other thing I wanted to add too is
Don
Oh,
has-
sorry, Don.
No, go ahead and make your comment, Mary.
Wait a minute, no, go ahead.
All right. So all through this year, the number of preschool kids we have has been significantly lower than it has been in prior years. And one, I think it's admirable that federal government is now recognizing what we recognized several years ago, that having universal preschool is important. But I guess my point is, have we done any exploration with the town clerk in regard to identifying what the actual population is of potential students? Or do we really believe that next year we're going to have a significantly smaller kindergarten class?
No, we do not think that next year's kindergarten will be significantly lower. This year, I think more families chose to keep their preschooler home, and also with the distancing in our classrooms in preschool, they weren't accommodating the same number of students. That will go back to, normally in a preschool, they would probably have about 15 kids. So we do anticipate, and according to Dr. Gulak, is she here?
I'm here.
Oh, sorry. We just talked about this week in terms of enrollment and planning for next year, and the 100 was the number for kindergarten that she was providing us.
Oh, well, that's actually an increase. Okay,
So,
that would be good news. Thank you.
and just tied to this conversation slightly, we have had our first month or first window of school choice, and we have had 12 students who are getting their letters of acceptance, and 3 of them are in kindergarten. 2 are in 2nd grade, 1 in 3rd, 1 in 5th, 1 in 7th, 1 in 8th, 2 in 9th grade and 1 in 10th grade. We're not opening grades 11 and 12 for choice. So that's after that first window.
Have we heard anything in regard to students choicing out?
No.
But we have positive 12. Oh, all right, thank you.
I'm sorry, Patty, can you repeat those numbers? I was reading something when you said.
That's okay. So we've had 3 in kindergarten, 2 in grade 2, 1 in grade 3, 1 in grade 5, 1 in grade 7, 1 in grade 8, 2 in grade 9, and 1 in grade 10.
Those are additions to the current numbers?
Yes, but keep in mind that our seniors will be
Will
moving
graduate,
on.
yeah, okay.
Right, they haven't, you know, they're getting their letter, they then have to go through the registration process, so hopefully if they make the effort to fill out the choice application, they generally do follow through and come to us.
And then we're not changing our procedure this year, we're gonna leave any empty seats open? It's gonna roll?
Yeah.
Okay.
Which has worked out well as families have had to make adjustments during a school year, but they want to stay in Mashpee. It makes it easy to roll them into choice.
Great, thank you.
Any other questions on that enrollment sheet? And then the only other, I think, paper in the packet has to do with personnel update, and you'll see we have 3 new employees. 2 of them are bus monitors, Danielle Toes and Deborah Sines, and then Tara Valley is the new recess monitor at Quash. And then we had, in terms of retirements or resignations, actually resignations in this case, Sarah Alves was a teacher at Quash, and Kimberly Chisholm was a recess monitor at Quash. And then the only other thing I want to highlight is that on May 18th, which is the day before our next school committee meeting, is our next partnership meeting with the tribe at 4:15, so anyone is welcome to attend. And let me just make sure I have everything on the list here. Yes, that's it. So in terms of Administrator Cheryl, I told Dr. Goulart she could go first this evening because she does have a family member at home who needs some support. So if she'd like to go, come up. Or,
I feel like I'm coming out from behind the curtain.
yes, I couldn't tell for sure. Yeah.
You look at George. Okay. No speakers, no anything, huh?
Oh,
That's okay.
that's fine.
That's fine. This is Gigi, and so Gigi is the little mascot for ST Math, which is a computer-based program, which uses little to no words at all. It's mostly pictures and thought concepts and higher level thinking involved there. So it's been really nice at our school to have this program. So Gigi's birthday was Friday. So I want you to picture Brian Praina's face right here because he wore the penguin costume. He's a brave soul. The kids had a blast. They all went on at the same time. We had a little Gigi moment. We had pencils and stickers and little Gigi party, so that was kind of nice for them. As you know, Monday was National Decision Day, and following in the footsteps of Mr. LaBelle, we chalked out our colleges that we've gone to. Many of us have gone to more than one. And then it poured the next day, so it was but there were about 17 or 20, I think, different colleges written on the front wall, which is always fun. Let's see, the kids had the Amazing Reading Challenge. They finally got their certificates and their books. We're into another reading challenge already. So you'll be seeing those pictures in the Falcon Eye. Let's see, so Teacher Appreciation Week has been really great. We've decided at Casey Combs to roll all of our people in there, our paraprofessionals, the administrative assistants, the custodians, the food service people, because everybody's such an important part of our kids' life, especially the littles. Well, actually, not especially the littles, all of them. So we are celebrating everybody, and the PTO gave them beautiful coffee from Cape Cod Coffee and pastries, and they enjoyed that very much. we've been trying to do something every day, so Patty gave them Monday meeting off, which was, it's always a nice thing to sleep in a little later. And the secretaries in the office have really figured out how to use our poster machine, and they made posters for paraprofessionals and, like I said, the custodians and the food service workers, and they put them all in the hallway, and they decorated it beautifully. And Susan Chepwick, our executive administrative assistant, took all the paraprofessionals' pictures and put them on stars and made posters so it would be more personal. It was really nice. It's very festive. Today we kicked off the dance-a-thon contribution period, and it's very interesting to go in to do lunch duty where the kids are saying, "You're getting tired of this. You're getting tired." So we just keep saying, "Show me the money." So anyway, that has been kicked off with a video and some information, so we're looking forward to that. It's our only fundraiser this year, so we're hoping for a nice little turnout. And I think that's all I have.
Questions?
All right.
Thank you, Deb.
Thank you
Thanks,
very
Deb.
much.
It is nice not to have that little mic. Hi, everybody. It's nice to see you all. Things are moving along here at Quashnet, and most importantly, this is Staff and Teacher Appreciation Week, and we're just incredibly fortunate here at Quashnet to have a fabulous staff. And the reason I say that is students are first in every single classroom, and it is evident when you walk through the halls. Kids matter. And that's what's important in our line of work. And it's not always about the grade or that piece of paper, the homework. It is about those students as individuals. And I do appreciate our staff for putting those kids first. So that is really wonderful. And I do applaud our staff on all of the time they have put in this year. The changes that have come their way from hybrid to remote to being on Zoom to having full classes sitting in front of them. And it has been a year of flexibility, and they have come through on all levels. We're very happy to have a new recess monitor. She's absolutely wonderful. She comes to us with a lot of experience. She was a PTO president in Falmouth for a while. She's very used to being in schools and being around students. We miss our Kim Chisholm, who had been here for quite a while, but she did get a full-time position, and that's why she left us. So I'm happy for her as well. And Ms. Alves was hired in a COVID position, and she was able to get a full-time position, a permanent one in the business world. So I wish her as well too. We'll miss her. But we hope to have Mr. Williams back soon from his deployment. He should be here toward the end of the month. I don't have a definite date yet, but we're looking forward to that, and I know the students are too. So that will be really great. So thank you, teachers and staff, for all that they do. We also have such an ambitious group of 6th graders who are on the student council. So I did talk about the Week of the World. Well, they really pulled it off with flying colors and flags. You probably saw the flags coming in. But they did presentations during the lunch on 5 different regions around the world. And it was just wonderful to see the leadership in these students. And to present in front of 130 roughly peers is not an easy task. But they certainly pulled it off. And it was wonderful to have the support of Gus Stickley and his staff to bring in special foods and treats. It really brought this whole idea to life. And they absolutely loved the Colombian street food. I think that was the favorite. They had a hot dog and all these little cups. You put cheese on it, crunched up potato chips. They put all the mayonnaise, ketchup. These hot dogs
There's
look
bacon.
horrible. Bacon bits. But the kids loved them, and one of the things that Gus and his staff did is they made up the recipes and had them in the lunch bags. So they all went home with their recipes and couldn't wait to share them. So it was really quite nice. The other piece that the 6th grade student council came up with is the Falcon Flyer, which is like our daily announcements now. And it also has special interest stories and some podcasts involved with it. Well, the big discussion was, what are we going to do with the Falcon Flyer when this group of Falcons fly up to the middle school? So the idea is to keep it here at Quashnet. So they've been conducting interviews. They're just terrific. So, but what is really nice is it's given an opportunity for students in grades 3, 4, and 5 to apply for these positions. And it's really terrific because they'll get to do so many different things within the Falcon Flyer, and it just gives more students an opportunity to have more experiences, which is really what we want. So I really applaud Lauren DiGiacomo, one of our counselors here, who has taken that leadership role and advisor position with the student council and really let them fly with this. It's been great to see the growth and development in the kids. So we'll see what happens with the Falcon Flyer and all the different topics they come up with. So that will be great. The other piece, we have a picture day coming up. The spring pictures are going to be here at Quashnet next week on the 13th. And the superintendent did share the MCAS dates. We're working hard to get all of those schedules in place. We do have another date, 3 dates actually, put aside for our remote students. So June 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th are the dates where remote students are asked to come in to test here at school. We do have to provide that testing time for them, so we've been making calls to families to schedule that to bring them in, and we will administer that in the cafeteria or in the gym, one of those 2 places where the remote students would be able to come in and they remain at 6 feet distancing. So hopefully we can accommodate those families and students as well. Other than that, I'd just like to thank Mr. Schmidt and Mr. Gorman as well for their service on the school committee. It's a lot of hours, a lot of time, and commitment to support all of us and support our children. So thank you for your service. And that's about it.
Questions?
I love the 6th graders doing succession planning. That's pretty cool. I got to pay attention to how that evolves.
Quite a process, I understand.
And then
the
jump
interview
on the
process.
Zoom on Thursday
Yeah,
nights
exactly.
at 5, and you'll hear all about it.
It's a very engaging process, let me tell you.
They're very, very committed. I have to say that they've been very busy, and today there was quite a flurry because they have a plan to recognize the staff as well for Teacher Appreciation Week. So they had to make sure every single person is accounted for. So we have clipboards, checklists.
Hunting down people for names is what I heard today.
Oh, yes, yes. We were incredibly busy, but all to help others, and it was really nice to see that.
These sound like my people. I love that.
They're coming your way, Mr. Bellastracci.
Yeah.
They're coming for you.
Well, they called down to our area to get all the bus driver and monitor names.
Oh my
Oh,
gosh,
yes,
really?
yes.
They'll be seeing you tomorrow too, I understand. So just be ready for another visit.
There is not, I can't imagine one person they would have left out because they covered their bases. But they are really a wonderful group of kids that are working quite hard and have a lot of ideas. Yes, be careful.
Any additional questions? Okay, great. Well, thank you very
All
much.
right, thank you.
Okay, Principal Balistracci from the Zoom.
Hi, good evening to the members of the committee. Hopefully you can hear my audio okay. In full disclosure, I have no idea one word that has been said on this meeting. I've been paying very close attention. I can't hear a ton, so I might repeat some things. But just to give a quick update on Mashpee Middle High School, So first and foremost, in the spirit of Teacher Appreciation Week and Educator Appreciation Week, I'd be remiss if I didn't express my most sincere gratitude to the staff, faculty, and support staff at Mashpee Middle High School, just for how they've been able to navigate what's certainly a unique and challenging year. How they have stayed the course, how they have been patient, flexible, professional, and continuing to always put the needs of students first and ahead of our own as adults and educators in the building. We've been able to keep our year moving. We are continuing to make progress. We're also continuing not to cut programs, but to expand programs, even despite this unique situation and this pandemic-riddled year. So I'm very, very proud of our staff and very grateful to work with them and alongside them every single day, as they are really where the rubber meets the road and have made just tremendous gains and kept our kids moving. Many districts couldn't do that, and we've been one that's been able to do so. So I just wanted to recognize at this meeting publicly the faculty and staff at MMHS. I also want to thank Superintendent DeBoer, Assistant Superintendent Hanscom, Business Manager Ed Lopes, because we're really continuing to make opportunities available for our students. I'm so excited, and in this last week and a half, we've made such great inroads with being able to provide our seniors with the experience and opportunities that they deserve in the final weeks of their time in high school. We are so excited that we're going to be able to have a prom for our seniors and one guest for each of them. We are so excited that we're going to be able to have an in-person graduation once again in the stadium field under the tents. So those are things and opportunities that, in my professional network and Cape and Islands Principals Network, there are so many challenges and moving parts. But Mashpee continues to do everything that we can for our students. And I just want to thank the district leadership and also the members of this committee, because you are supportive of all of our students in their endeavors. So I'm excited to provide these opportunities for our seniors, to have them finish the right way and the way they deserve to. My conversations with students today about the prom, I was a little nervous. You're going to have a prom under a tent on a football field with food trucks, all these different things. They were so excited and grateful, and that just validates again those relationships that we've built. As Superintendent DeBoer mentioned, and you've heard multiple times from the other principals, in particular Principal O'Brien, we are in what we call assessment season. We started up with AP exams today. We have 8 AP exams for the next 18 consecutive school days, as well as MCAS for grades 7, 8, 9, and 10. So we are in that process, getting everything done. We just finalized all logistics today for classrooms, movement, sessions, X, Y, and Z, proctors, and we are in a very good shape regarding that as well. So MCAS is going to look a little bit different, but I know as Superintendent DeBoer mentioned, our 10th grade is an in-person assessment only, as is our 9th grade science, and then the 7th and 8th grade has that flexibility to be both in-person or remote. The 11th grade, just to reiterate, will be able to meet their competency determination to receive a diploma in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts through successfully completing our state-approved programs in science, math, and English. So those students didn't get to sit in grade 10 for those assessments, and now they're going to be able to, if they successfully complete the courses, earn that CD. I think that's probably the one thing that DISC's done that I've been happy about and appreciative of, because that took a lot of pressure off those students who really don't have a lot of time to take those assessments. They also will be allowed, by choice, to sit for a modified MCAS in the fall, our current grade 11 students, and that's to provide them the opportunity to qualify for John and Abigail Adams scholarships to local state colleges and universities. So those are things we want to make sure those kids have access to, an opportunity to sit if they so choose. But that's kind of just a quick update on the assessments and MCAS and AP. Just the last couple things. As we continue on, it's hard to believe it's May 5th and we're just a month and a half, 6 weeks away from closing out our school year. But I just want to mention a little bit about our mentoring program. I know that we've been partnered with Mass Hire and the Cape and Islands Workforce Investment Board for several years, and Carol O'Donnell and that whole team is just unbelievable to work with. And Dr. Hanscom and Mike Looney, our director of CTE, have always really tried to foster that relationship to provide as many opportunities as we can. And I believe at the last meeting I attended to report out was we had talked about our mentoring program, where we have seniors at Mashpee Middle High School who have been paired with students in grades 7 and 8 who are in need of support, whether it be mentoring, academic tutoring, just a role model, somebody to talk to, a peer to help support. And we knew that, and I informed you that our seniors were being able to be paid, $13.50 an hour to do that. I'm so excited to report that this has been a game changer for us and for our students. This has been an effort that if you ever want to come into the high school or middle school and see what it looks like during those Block 8, Period 8 directed studies, our students are interacting, they're succeeding, and they're gaining confidence every single time they meet with their mentors, their student mentors. And this is something that I'm very grateful for and really hopeful that as we continue to see the restrictions and constraints lifted due to COVID, that we can extend this down into the Quashnet School and even lower. And it's, again, one of those opportunities that comes out of a difficult time like COVID, is we've been able to do this, do it with success, and build confidence in students. I met with one student today who had a really hard time engaging in the beginning of the year, and at the halfway point, hadn't really done a ton of schoolwork or engaged as much as they would have liked. And I can say right now that student's passing every course for the year, and is currently in term 4 has straight A's. And that is a direct result of that relationship with that peer mentor. And that's just a good example of how in Mashpee we continue to find opportunities to support our students. So I'm super excited to report out on that. Grateful to Dr. Hanscom and Mike Looney for their support and helping everything get up and off the ground, as well as our other programs where we have a medical terminology course that some of our students are jumping into for our health services pathway. And Kripani Patel, former Mashpee graduate and doctoral student, or medical doctor student, is helping to facilitate that course. So just excited, grateful. It's fast approaching the end of the year, but I just think that we are in a position where I'm very pleased and grateful to our families, to our students, and to our faculty and staff for just keeping the focus on and continuing to steer the course and stay the course through this challenging year. So that's this general stuff. You heard a lot from Skyla and Superintendent DeBoer, so I don't want to repeat too much, but just really excited for what's to come and much brighter days ahead for us, I believe.
Thank you, Mark. Questions? Nicole?
Mark, that peer mentoring program sounds really exciting. Sorry, I'm just joking because I feel like I'm talking so loud. What kind of feedback have you gotten on the block scheduling, and are you planning to carry that over to next year?
So, obviously with the schedule change, that's kind of been where we've seen some opportunities to really expand programs and supports and services for students. So we're evaluating that currently and looking to, obviously there's some moving parts that need to be addressed, but we are working to determine how to best move forward with the schedule for next fall. But again, there's no final decision on that, as there's a lot of moving parts that need to be addressed. But I think that overall, I've gotten feedback from faculty and staff, and I've gotten a ton of student feedback. And it's been a year that, many like it. Some have adjusted to it. Some, might not be as big of fans at this point. But I think that in the end, we'll evaluate and assess and see what's in the best interest of our kids and work hard to make sure that we make those appropriate decisions. But the student feedback has been very positive on it overall, just that they feel not having to take 6 in a day is much more reasonable, having a day in between where they can get homework done, projects done. But I think the biggest thing from the students is that period 8. And we were in a strategic planning meeting this morning, and the group that I was facilitating was about equity and inclusion. And in years past, the only students eligible for a directed study were your kids taking 2 or 3 or more APs. And this has allowed us to have that Block 8 to get built-in supports, have our teachers providing what would be after-school support and instruction during the day. And it really has helped to, I feel, improve the equity and access to after-school supports, because if we can do it during the day, that's much more effective. So I think that's been a huge piece. And it's a COVID year, so it's tough to evaluate a block schedule on a year that's so challenging that we've been in a hybrid. That being said, I think that our students have really started to utilize that Block 8 better and better every term. And now that they're using it wisely, I'm seeing classes that have teachers that have homerooms that are full on Zoom with kids getting extra help, of students supporting each other as well. So if you have a student really strong in math and they don't have a lot to do during their homeroom, they're zooming into their math teacher's support to be able to provide, again, direct peer intervention for their younger students or grade level peers. So I think that's been a really, really positive piece and something that I feel is important to really consider heavily before we make any final decisions. But the kids have been great with it. Our tardiness is way down. Our attendance is good. Our behavior issues are down. Our transitions are limited. It's really been fruitful in many ways. So it's like you want to make lemonade when you get dealt lemons, and I think that's what we've tried to do throughout this year.
Great, thank you. You also just mentioned, that was my other question about now that we've returned, almost 100% except for our remote learners. How are tardies going?
So, we haven't had a ton of tardiness issues this year. I mean, obviously it was unique, right? Because you only had half the population in at a time, sometimes less, especially during those holiday months where, the spikes were occurring with COVID. But right now, the only issue we're dealing with right now is that traffic light, your favorite intersection in the town of Mashpee.
Jeff couldn't fix that before he left, I guess.
But we're just continuing to be reasonable with that. I know that, in speaking with our SRO, she was at that light for almost 20 minutes the other day. So being reasonable with our students and parents, obviously with limited bus space, we have more kids getting dropped off than they would in a normal year. So we've been flexible with that light, especially now that we're fully back with all 6 grades in person. So we're dealing with that, but the kids have been wonderful. I always speak so highly of our students. Very, very rarely, and I mean that, I can probably count on one hand the amount of times I've had to ask a student to put their mask back over their nose. They're just phenomenal kids, and they do the right thing, and that just speaks volumes to them. And without them being such great kids, this would be a much more difficult experience. So they've been awesome. I know that Consuelo is going to speak in a minute and talk a little bit about the senior presentations for Senior Sem, and I won't steal her thunder on that. But these kids continue to impress. They continue to persevere, and we talk about Portrait of a Graduate, resilient me. I can't talk any further about how resilient these kids have been, especially our seniors who have been through the ringer this year and missed so many experiences. But the athletics, the clubs, the performances with Blue Falcon Theater, doing the musical pieces and performances, that stuff to me just is what our kids are all about, and they're the lifeblood of our school. So just very, very grateful to them, and they're just phenomenal.
Thank you.
Don?
I had a question in regard to the number of participants in the mentoring program from the senior class. Do you know what that is?
So I believe we have 22, and again, I don't have this right in front of me, but I believe we have 22 senior mentors that are working with at a minimum of 1 student per. Some seniors that are currently mentors are actually working within classrooms. So for example, if they have a school to career program or a senior seminar course, they might be able to jump into an actual class and support all students. So I think we're reaching anywhere from 30 to 50 7th and 8th grade students, and I see this really expanding because one of the things that we do is we keep a log of all of our mentors and what they do and how they kind of do a reflection every week about what they've been able to accomplish. And I can show them to you privately, but they are just the experience and the value that these kids have gotten out of this mentoring program has just made everyone a better person. And I think that is just something that we really need to focus on at the middle high school level, but I'm really excited to work with Principal O'Brien, Principal Goulart, to make sure that we can really start extending this down. Because eventually we can get our high school kids down to those elementary schools on a very regular basis. And that helps those younger students to see and to get that visual of what it looks like to be successful at the middle and high school level. And I think that'll help build confidence, it'll build inroads, and really help to improve our equity and inclusion and access and representation in our programs.
How much was the grant that you got to establish this? How much was the grant for this?
So it was through I believe, and Dr. Hanscom, correct me if I'm wrong, but through the Department of Labor and through the Mass Hire, all the workforce boards in their respective regions. So this was funded this year. In speaking with our contact and liaison to Mass Hire, Kara O'Donnell, I feel this is something that's not just going to go away and something that they're going to look to continue to fund because this, again, it allows our students to, support each other, make a little bit of dough on the side, and maybe not have to work after school and at night. And I think those are things that, again, can support our kids. And but I do see this being funded next year. I can't promise that. I'm not the governor, but I do see it being funded next year and hopefully expanding even further.
Yeah, I'll just add, it's not a grant we received, it's a grant that the Cape Islands Workforce Board received, and we partner with them, but all the funding goes through them.
Okay.
So it's not, Mark, could you hear me or no?
I heard that we partner with the Workforce Investment
All
Board.
right, sorry, I don't have the microphone on. But we did meet, you want to say we met with Carrie, she said that we were like a model.
Today.
Yeah.
Yes, we did have a meeting with the Cape Islands Workforce Board today, as well as, what's the deputy?
She's I don't remember, but she's fancy.
Fancy lady from DESI. And so the DESI individual was praising Mashpee as a model for this program, and actually as a model for partnering the opportunities we're able to bring to our students through our partnership with Kara Galvin and her workforce board. So that was a nice recognition. And the lady from DESI, I'm sorry, I know her first name is Carrie.
Gotcha.
Yes, said how much she enjoys interacting with Mashpee in particular, but the other Cape and Island schools as well, because she says it's really not like that in other regions of Massachusetts. She said you might not realize it. So we're just going to continue. I'm very proud of the efforts of Dr. Hanscom and Mike Looney and Principal Balstracci, and because a lot of these opportunities can come our way, but it does take some actually, work on the ground and organizational and time commitment from our administrators to get it up and running. And sometimes it's easy to let things go, but we don't ever do that here, and so our kids are really benefiting from this and many other opportunities.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds, from what I'm hearing, an excellent program, and I'm hoping that, there's resources available to be able to support it going forward as well. So,
Yeah, it's been a great program, and I think that the value is already been established. And I know in Mashpee we problem solve and make things happen, so I know that we're going to be able to continue to support this initiative moving forward.
Okay. Thank you, Mark, for what it's worth. And my talking with the teachers and the students, in my brief interactions with them, they almost all were in favor of that 8-block program. So, for what it's worth.
Thank you.
Okay, so how about Athletic Director Matt Treveri is with us through Zoom, and if he can give some highlights, maybe on the Fall 2 closeout, and then what's going on with spring.
Matt, can you hear me?
I can hear Hope. If I can hear you fine, I can't hear anyone from the school committee though.
You're up, Matt.
Okay, there we go. All right, so I appreciate you for having me here. Just to kind of wrap up what we've been doing here in athletics and then kind of move into the spring. Fall 2, part of it, I think, a great job by our coaches and student athletes. Part of it, luck. We had no major interruptions for our teams due to COVID. We had a very minuscule amount of quarantines as well. So we made it through the whole season. We were on a few teams that I know that made it through the whole season without a glitch. We finished our first year of volleyball with our 2 JV and varsity teams, making it to the South Shore League semifinals. Our young coaches did a great job with those kids, enthusiastic. It was absolutely terrific. Publicly, I'd like to thank Kaylee Green, who is the administrative assistant in the front office and also for athletics, who helped spearhead our registration process for our COVID tracing. We had to COVID trace every single parent, and obviously all of our student athletes, but every single parent as well for home and away games, which had a registration process which was fairly elaborate. It included badges for each sport, and it got done. And parents families were great. They really worked with us. They were very understanding. We also live streamed every game in fall too, as well as every winter event, which was also a massive undertaking, but we've been very lucky to have former students come and film for us to make sure that members of the community were able to view our student athletes in competition this year with the limited access due to COVID at home and away events our first 3 seasons. Moving to the spring, we're very hopeful. All outdoor sports. Our games actually start tomorrow. It's a very condensed season, shorter preseason, very condensed season. There is a tournament involved in this for each sport. It potentially runs all the way to the end of June, which is simply different than what we normally have for spring athletics. Our numbers are a little bit down in spring sports. I think that's probably a direct relation to COVID and kids coming back and academics, rightfully so, being a focus. The other piece I think that's having an effect for us is jobs. We have a lot of kids right now, getting jobs and working in a very needy market for labor. So our fan policies have changed a little bit moving into the spring. We are allowing families of student athletes to attend both home and away games in our league. All DESE rules apply, including families have to be masked, even though the governor came out with an outdoor recommendation ordinance. Our student athletes, our officials, and families all have to be masked on campus. Superintendents of South Shore League all agreed to this. We're still going to contact trace all our student athletes and coaches. We are going to not contact trace fans at this point. Obviously, we'll have people on campus to try to make sure all rules are enforced for the spring. If you have any questions for me, please feel free. I'll try to hear you. If you can throw in the chat, we could certainly answer anything if you have any questions regarding athletics.
Anyone? Okay, I guess not, Matt. Thank you very much for your presentation. And
I think we have Consuelo Carl is next.
Thanks, Matt.
Thank you, Matt.
Thank you.
Am I up now?
Yes.
Okay. So I want to tell just a great story. We started our senior project evaluations. We have our volunteers in there zooming in, listening to kids. And the very first day, Megan Levine, who had put together some t-shirts that she had designed, and then we had them in the store to sell and have done really well with them. 2 of the evaluators listened to her evaluation, and they both came in that same day separately. They wanted to support her project. They thought it was really inspirational. Barry Tasman, who is one of the evaluators, had been an educator for over 30 years. He said the day was so inspirational for him. He had really enjoyed all the presentations, and he said he has worked at some well-known schools in his career, and he thought nothing compared to Mashpee. So I thought that was such a wonderful accolade. And the other evaluator said she was just so impressed at how thoughtful the kids were, how they really dug into what they were doing, and it wasn't just a casual project. They really were thinking deeply about the project that they were talking about. So that was really cool. And now these people are going to be going out into the community and really talking about how wonderful the Mashpee school system is. So it's always fun for me to get to interact with the volunteers. In regards to the hackathon, which happened, I know Skyla mentioned it. It was great to have all that activity and have something live at the Mashpee Commons in the store. We did have some outside representatives from the community. We had Peter McDonald from Wonderite, and then from Savant Home Industries, we had Victor Savarino, and then also Danny Chapman, who's an engineer for the company and a Mashpee Middle High School alumni. So that's really exciting to see if we can pull more alumni back into the school. And also, Representative Vieira got in touch with me in regards to the annual Student Government Day, and I was able to hook him up with Mr. Brody, and that's something that we will be participating in. So that's always nice. I'm working on a few things to improve our sort of communications. We're going to be well, not just me, everyone's going to be working on it, but we're going to be updating the website and our app. We are going to be working more, getting trained in the cable station. And I've also been putting together a community email list and sending out updates of exciting things that happened. I recently sent out the cabaret performance and the art magazine that Carolyn Bone put out as their senior project. And that was extremely well received. A lot of people sent emails back saying thank you, that they really appreciated seeing what the students were doing. I've also been sending that out to town officials as well, and just so that they keep abreast of all the exciting things that are going on in the school. Then the Mashpee Commons continues to be a great partner. They approved us doing the hackathon and helped us with the the Board of Health to get that approved. And then they also will be once again putting up another banner with all the graduates, a list of graduates, and they'll be at the bandstand with balloons so students families can go there and get pictures taken. And then at the We Are Mashpee store, we had the best month we've had ever. And I really attribute that to the addition of the student-created items that were not specific to Mashpee Public Schools. So that tie-dye and that shirt that Megan made were our two top sellers, and they brought us over the top, as well as we are now more than double in sales than the year before. We've also fully transitioned to a new point of sale system that'll give us more information. And having the interns in the store has been really exciting and great for me. The students are learning things, and it's supporting me as well. So it's been really a positive thing that I think we have opportunities to have that grow and really integrate what students are learning with their desires of what they want to be. So that's my presentation. Does anybody have any questions?
Questions, anyone? Okay, thank you very much, Consuelo.
It's great,
Thank you.
Consuelo. Thank you.
I just wanted to add one thing, that the Kiwanis Club of Mashpee had reached out and wanted to do something for the seniors, this graduating class. And so the yard signs that we did last year, they are going to purchase those for us, and then we're going to have them at the hashtag We Are Mashpee as the pickup location. And so it might be a way to get families to do a quick stop in who haven't already been into that site to really see all the wonderful things there. So we're very grateful for that partnership as well.
Cool. Yeah, those April sales are no joke. Wow.
All right, next, next item on the agenda, any subcommittee or working group reports? I don't know of any, but okay. Next, unassigned and unfinished business. The town election is happening this Saturday at the Quashnet. The town will be in there after the school closes on Friday afternoon in order to set up, because there's all that stuff to move around, and they're also going to come back after the election is over and put everything back again so that we're ready to roll again on Monday morning, or okay. The items of interest, I think, as far as the school committee is concerned, is that the budget was passed at the town meeting. Graduation is June 5th. As is already mentioned by a couple of people here, 10 a.m. outside, as it was last year on the stadium field. And we have already talked part about the Magna Award happening. Did you have more to add to that, Nicole?
One quick question on the graduation. What time do we have to be there?
You should probably be there at 9:15 to 9:30 in that window. Okay. And Sherry will be reaching out in terms of ordering the cap and gowns, unless Sherry did. I'm not sure, but she will.
No, but I think the Magna should be on the agenda every school committee meeting until we win another national award. I'm just saying, I'm never going to get tired of talking about it. And I am going to probably have something to report out because of Magna every month. So I think we should just leave it on the agenda. And I love coming into the school. It makes me smile every time I see that poster. It is so cool. So yeah, we're going to try to meet, as I said earlier, with some folks. And this, I spent some time talking to the school committee chairman down there, and he really thinks that what they're doing is a model. And so he's looking to do outreach with other districts that serve Native students. We're looking to receive new ideas and things that we're not doing. So I think it's going to be great. And you know, the one thing that I think we just need to start working on, and maybe at that next partnership meeting, is the agenda for the joint tribal council meeting. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm really saying it to the people behind me since you won't be here.
I got it.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Nicole. And as Dawn has already mentioned, the whole thing about the electric buses, that will be carried forward to the next business meeting, school committee meeting, I should say, as will on the agenda the Magna quote, whatever, dash.
Magna happenings.
Magna happenings, okay.
Yes, it is a moment.
Any questions on that? Okay, next is the new business, superintendent evaluation. Well, let's see.
Detach, yeah. Yeah, before you get up.
Oh, we want me to handle that?
There's some for people up back.
Give that to George. No, just give that back to George. The card, give it back to George.
No, that's not you.
It is.
Oh, okay.
It is, yeah, thank you.
Maria, would you mind handing these out?
What about you, Cory?
That was far less discreet than I thought it would be.
Thank you.
It's a public meeting.
Okay. First class is them, Mike. Still hear me? You ever hear me?
Yep,
Okay, great.
better than ever.
That's wonderful. For the benefit of our audience, if you work in an organization, you generally nowadays people get evaluations, and one of the jobs of the school committee is to perform the evaluation of the superintendent. All of the other people that are attached to the schools are evaluated by the superintendent or her designee. It is the school committee's sole job to rate the superintendent. It is done by a conference between the superintendent evaluation working group and the superintendent, deciding at the beginning of the year what the goals are going to be and how those might be accomplished. These are rated during the end of the year, and the superintendent provides to the school committee her assessment of how she has performed on the various goals. And then the school committee, individual members, rate the superintendent on each of these goals, each of these standards, I should say. And the school committee chair, myself, summarize that, and we'll be presenting it to you all this evening. Not all of the standards, I should say, all of the items in any standard are rated at any particular point in time. As I say, these are chosen at the beginning of the year as exactly which ones the superintendent should be working on. They are lengthy, and I'm just going to say that there are 4 ratings that can be given. One is exemplary, another is proficient, needs improvement, or unsatisfactory. And each of the school committee members rates the superintendent on each of the items in the rubric. And the first standard that we're talking about this year is instructional leadership. And there were 3 items here that were rated this year. I'm sorry, 4 in the instructional leadership. First is curriculum, and then how I arrived at the numerical score. I kept it very simple for the math impaired members of the school committee, including myself. If you were, it was exemplary, I assigned it a 1. If it was proficient, a 2. Needs improvement, a 3. And obviously unsatisfactory would be a 4. And then through the higher math, I added them all up and divided by the number that was affected each time to arrive at the average score. Of course, 1 being the absolute best and 4 being the absolute worst. The first standard was instructional leadership. And the first item in that is curriculum, and the overall score between the members of the committee was 1.4. On instruction, item 1B, the overall rating was 1.8. We did not do assessment this year. On evaluation, the overall rating was 1.6, and the final was data-informed decision-making. Again, the rating there was 1.6. The average on these was 1.6, and the overall rating is proficient. Now, the members of the school committee are entitled to and are asked to add comments to this in anything that they'd like to say. There are 5 members of the school committee. There are only 4 places, so I'm going to, one will have 2 readings and everybody else will have 1, which is kind of an average rather than going through all of these. And in standard 1, instructional leadership, the general comments were something like this. COVID-19 brought about many different issues to providing quality instruction and leadership. Despite the many changes required to get the staff prepared and able to provide instruction to the students, Patty did an excellent job of keeping everyone informed of the planning that occurred to make the 2021 school year successful despite the challenges of the pandemic. The next was management and operations. First rubric there was environment. The overall rating was 1.6. Human resources and management, overall rating 1.6. Scheduling and management information system, the overall rating was 2.0. And fiscal systems, 1.2. The overall combined rating was 1.6 for management and operations. And the comment I picked for this was the superintendent successfully led her staff in undoubtedly the most challenging year for student growth and learning. Continually shifting guidelines and directives from DESE on an almost daily basis made this an extremely difficult year to navigate. The superintendent's performance has been exemplary. Standard 3, family and community engagement. On sharing responsibility, the average was 1.6. On communication, 1.6. Family concerns, 1.8. The overall rating was proficient with a numerical score of 1.7. And the one I picked for this, the groundwork the superintendent laid in previous years paid off in a year where family concerns would dominate the landscape. So much communication was required this year. And our district rose to the challenge, putting safety first in developing COVID communications and assigning a point person for this unprecedented time. There were an abundance of opportunities for sports for families and students, a number of Q&A sessions, and plenty of communications about planning and adjustments to learning. The hashtag We Are Mashpee Outreach Center, community message board, and outreach coordinator have been so critical to connecting with the community at a time when connecting was so challenging. Senior spotlights were a creative way to get more of our students and school news and activities into the public eye. The district's public image is stronger than ever as a result of the superintendent's leadership. And finally, professional culture, commitment to high standards. The overall rating was a 1. The communication, the overall rating was 1.8. And shared vision was a 1. The average of these was 0.95, so the rating became exemplary for the standard. And since I'll read 2 here, communication with the school committee has significantly decreased since moving to 1 meeting a month. There have been several instances over the last evaluation period that situations, issues, and plans were not shared with the school committee in a timely manner. In addition, some of these items were shared with parents and were available in the paper prior to school committee input or discussion. There should be an effort to have school committee specific update that fills the time between the regularly scheduled meetings. These updates should not be forwarded communications to other parties, but specific detailed and school committee pertinent information that will keep all members informed, make for the once-a-month meeting more efficient and productive, and also immediately allow members to determine if a special meeting is needed for further discussion. And the second comment on that, the superintendent has promoted and stressed the importance of a portrait of graduate in messaging to students and families. COVID-19 has been a challenge, and the superintendent has stepped up to lead the district's response in a collaborative and open manner with stakeholders to ensure the safety of students and staff while promoting an engaging learning environment both in person and virtually. And that is the result of the superintendent's evaluation for this year. Comments by members of the committee. Kathy?
Yeah, I mean, I just want to thank the superintendent for, working this challenging year. I've just seen the comment on, more than the communication piece about the meetings, and I do somewhat agree that maybe that is something we can work on for the future. Otherwise, I think of facing this year and being able to do what we've done and what she's done, I think it's pretty impressive. So that's my say.
Thank you. Jeff? Nothing? Don?
I think this was the most unusual year in the tenure that I have been around, ever. And while not perfect by any means, it was pretty darn good. And Mashpee came through, and I think was a leader in this whole process of dealing with COVID and how we set up for in-class learning and remote learning. And, I give the superintendent, the staff, the faculty, and the students credit for doing everything right, or as much as they could. So I think it was a good year. I appreciate the leadership from the superintendent.
Nicole?
Yeah, I'm going to pretend that I'm looking at Patty like if I wasn't nearsighted. I could maybe see her in the back of the room, but I'm not going to put my glasses on because then they'll fog up. So I think now having had a little more time on the committee, I grow more comfortable evaluating the superintendent each year because I feel like I always learn a bit more each year about what it takes to be a superintendent in a district, and never mind during a pandemic. And I have tremendous respect for the superintendent's focus and real attention to detail with her team. And I think that this year, I said something in the evaluation that it was notable for the things that didn't happen. And I think the things that didn't happen were because of her leadership and focus and just, really diligent. I don't know where she gets the time or energy to do everything that she does, but I think there are some really notable things. I talk to a lot of other school committee members now, and hearing and knowing about what was going on in other districts, you can't help but be grateful that we weren't having those problems in our district. And that's not like an accomplishment in that respect, but I think just the agreement with the Teachers Association in terms of how we were able to implement our learning plan was notable in that it got done, and it got done very quickly, and I have to credit Patty's leadership on that and the transparent process that she led to develop that. At the beginning of the year, I just was waiting for the schools to close. I figured for sure we'd be shut down at some point, and schools all around us went to remote learning completely and changed their models, and we never had to do that. And, you know, amidst everything, you know, I kind of call her in the last minute on a deadline and say, hey, we should put in for this equity award, you know, and she's like, yes, let's do it, you know, and so we like cranked that out in a few days, and look what happened there. So I think it's, I feel like this whole year, it was kind of great that we didn't have our strategic plan done ahead of it, because I feel like we've learned so much. Some of the things that the principals said tonight, some of the creative activities that we've implemented that are going to inform our conversations around equity and supports for students and Native students. I just feel like I'm so grateful to have somebody who really is, who models the learning mindset that she tries to imbue in this district every day. And I feel like it's, we're just very lucky to have you, Patty. Very lucky, so thank you so much.
Thank you. And I know the job of the chair is to just lead and let everybody else discuss, but I think under the circumstances that I should add a few comments here. Having been the chair and have been involved in a lot of meetings that started almost as soon as I was elected to the chair, and with the parents, with the students, with the union, etc. And the detailed planning that went into every aspect of this year to get it up and running, and the fact that it did keep up and running, and talking with families who I know outside of this district, and some of the horror shows that they were experiencing as far as the education for the students was concerned. My grandnephew in a town, I probably shouldn't mention the town, but said that he was really glad when the streaming was over, because then he could get to work and actually start to study, because the streaming was absolutely useless, and we did not have anything like that here. We had contiguous education all the way through. And that is the result of the superintendent's leadership, as well as all of the staff here, and the enormous attention to detail that was paid to every aspect of a continuously fluid situation, particularly in the May, June, July, and August timeframe. I mean, it's almost like by the hour. Definitely different directives coming out from DESE. So, as John said, it was an unusual year, and yeah, that it was. And the fact that we survived it and actually grew and actually learned from some of the things that we did that we can carry forward into future years. Such was mentioned earlier, I think that 8 block is an excellent idea as far as education is concerned. I've also had some families, and this is a very small sample, but families whose students did far better with the remote learning than they did with actually being in the classroom, and so to maybe work some of that into in future. I know the social aspect of it is to get the students in, but the overall, what is the best learning model for the student? We've learned that some of them learn better working on a screen and not really interacting with other students during the day. And I could probably go on here for a while, as you all know, so in that case, I will just stop and, well, I could go on, Jeff, really. No? Okay. Patty, comments?
No, I just really want to acknowledge my team, because none of this year could happen, and I can't work with what I feel we have the strongest team. You know, we like each other, and so that makes the work a lot more enjoyable. We can have fun at the same time. And I will say, today when we had our strategic planning meeting, it was so nice. It almost felt like we were having an adult meeting, an adult conversation, because it was just really enriching to be talking about something other than what we basically had to plan all year long, and to have, hopefully looking forward and not having to plan for, you know, yellow dots and red tape and PPE and numbers of chairs and the logistics of everything. We're looking forward to that, and incorporating some of the changes that are beneficial from what we've done this year. But I'm just really grateful for the opportunity to be in Mashpee, and I appreciate the support of the school committee. I do wish both Jeff and George the best as you step down, and you know you're always welcome to come back and contribute your ideas and opinions. And I just, you know, I think as a team moving throughout this past 15 months, it really starts at the school committee level all the way down to every staff member within the district really working well together. And I appreciate your support, so thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Patty.
Thank you, Patty. School committee meeting schedule. On page 13, you have the proposed school committee meeting schedule for school year 21-22. We did go over this, and none of these meetings conflict with the collaborative meetings. So these school committee meetings are not on collaborative meeting dates.
Hey, Mr. Chairman.
Yep.
Is there any reason why we can't table this for the new school committee meeting to vote on our own school committee meeting?
Is there any reason we need this right now? I don't think so.
No, in fact, I'd like to check it against the MASC Board of Directors.
Okay.
Just, they meet on Wednesdays too, but I don't know. Yeah.
Okay, so is there a motion to table this till the, I guess it would have to be the next school committee meeting?
I move to postpone the school committee meeting schedule until the next regularly scheduled meeting.
Motion has been made. Is there a second?
A second. Oh.
Motion made by Jeff, seconded by Nicole. Eating out Don by breath. Any discussion on the motion, Jeff? No?
No.
Anyone else?
No.
Hearing none. Call for the vote.
Okay, turn my volume down.
Yes.
Kathy?
Yes.
Jeff?
Yes.
Don?
Yes.
Nicole?
Yes.
And George, yes. Okay, fine. Next, recognition of one of our departing member, Jeff Gorman. Oh Lord, how do you do this with a mic? As all of you know here, Jeff is leaving the school committee after being here for a little better than 6 years, actually, on the school committee. And this is just to...
6 years, 10 months.
10 months. 6 years, 10 months, how many days? And we just want to offer our thanks for the work that you have done, for the time that you have put in, and the dedication to your job as a school committee member. We are sorry to see you go, and we understand that, you know, why time comes. You know, sometimes it's time to do something, and this is for the time to use it. So on behalf of all of us, thank you very much. On behalf of the committee and the school department, I'd like to present you with this plaque. Jeff Gorman School Committee, in appreciation for your 7 years of service, dedication, and commitment to the Mashpee Public Schools, and a small token of our appreciation.
Can I get near you, George?
I think if it's Consuelo and Mark on the, I think you just take off the boxer.
Yeah.
No one is listening.
Oh, that's awesome. No big deal.
Take your mic on.
Okay.
We have an identical picture that was taken the night we won the election.
Oh, that's right.
You aged quite a bit.
I know. There's a lot more gray hair right there.
Yeah, a lot more. I would sure as well, but that's another story.
I love how he said you've aged.
Yeah, me.
Kathy, comments?
Well, thanks for making my freshman year on the committee, you know, enjoyable and mentoring me in, you know, policy subcommittee ways and
The funnest policy meetings ever.
seriously. So again, thank you. I appreciate your years of service and wishing you all the best.
Appreciate it.
Don?
Can't believe it's been so long.
I know.
But I definitely have appreciated the expertise that you brought. You helped streamline our meetings, we'd still be here at 10 o'clock tonight if it was under the old process. So I appreciate you helping make that part of this more professional. But you brought more than that just to this committee, and you brought great ideas, great constructive feedback to the administration, and I think we're going to miss that. I know I'm going to miss that. And I hope you stay in contact with us and with the superintendent, and you will definitely be missed, at least from my perspective. I wish you
At least for me, right? I can't speak
Right.
to everybody
Well,
else.
the rest of
Oh,
us.
yeah, exactly.
I can't speak for the committee as a whole. I've got that nailed down. I can't speak for the committee as a whole, but from my personal perspective, you definitely will be
I'll come
missed.
get an ice cream without.
Thank you.
Jeff, it's been nice getting to know you, on the committee. We didn't really know each other before I was elected, so, and I carry your Robert's Rules of Orders into my daily life outside of the committee. I dare say I've cut time off many meetings thanks to you, so I appreciate learning that. So I've learned a lot from you, and also, I agree. I almost forgot how long the meetings have been. It's been so long since we've had to suffer through those. So you definitely helped usher in that era, and many years of school committee members will be grateful. So anyway, I know I'll see you around town, so can't wait to see what you do next. I'm sure you won't be, fading into the sunset. Yeah, I'm sure you're going to come up with something to do. But thank you for your service to the town and to the students of the district.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. Items the chair did not.
Can I actually say something?
I
I
tried
was going to get to
that.
speak. Yeah, exactly.
Sorry.
No, I didn't. I didn't speak. Yeah, I'm thinking that we pull up my speech, right? Well, I didn't say anything during the superintendent evaluation because I don't want to, lose any thunder from this. I mean, it honestly has been an honor to serve with all you guys. George and I came up together. That election was just quite exciting, and I had a little bit of extra time on it because I was brought in, I think it was August or something like that of 2014, I think is when this all started. And I made a comment at the NSBA that's been quite the ride. I mean, there has been some crazy happenings since August of 2014 until now. And I think one of the main reasons that I'm okay with leaving, and I don't want this to sound cavalier, is because I have such respect for all of you. The administration is rocking it. You guys are, I love working with you guys. The collaboration that we're able to get is phenomenal. I will remember every single meeting that I've had with Patty and some of the great ideas that were exchanged and just the banter and the good times. It was really a satisfying 7 years, and I'm very proud of what we've accomplished over that 7 years, and I'm very, I'm satisfied that I can step away and let someone else step up and learn new stuff and provide a new fresh perspective and eyeballs to the committee and the school district, and watch us keep going up and up. I always think of it, we're at the 90% point right now. And the energy that it takes to get to that 90%, it takes twice as much energy to get to the 95%. So we need really to buck down. And I also wanted to say that the consummate professional George Schmidt, who's also leaving us, refused to put his own name on the agenda to be recognized. But I wanted to recognize him too. What a fantastic year. What a great job you did as the chairman during another crazy year. I don't think we could add 16 adjectives in a row, right, for how to describe this year. So I appreciate that. I know you're going to get recognized officially at another meeting, and I will make sure I definitely come so I can clap. You won't let me talk then, but I'll definitely clap. But anyway, thank you so much. It really has been a pleasure to work with all of you.
Thank you very much, Jeff. Anyone else? Glasses and the mask and the mic. Okay.
Yeah.
Items the chair did not know in advance. I think we're done there. Anything on public comment? It sure doesn't look like it.
There is nothing currently in the chat.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And let's see, before we go into executive session, I would just like to thank the committee for giving me the opportunity this past year to be the chair and for trusting me with that responsibility. It has been a fascinating year. It's been a year of growth. I've learned a lot. I think one of the hardest jobs of being the chair is keeping your mouth shut and letting everybody else have the discussion. And it seems to work, to me anyway, when I just let everybody else have their say, because I'm, as the chair, supposed to know everything that's going on that's on the agenda ahead of time. I'd already made up my mind, so it does keep the discussion down a bit. But I do appreciate all of you trusting me with that responsibility. And I am going to read this motion because the lawyer got involved in it, so I would entertain a motion that we enter into executive session pursuant to Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A2, to conduct strategy sessions in preparation for negotiations with non-union personnel or to conduct collective bargaining sessions or contract negotiations with non-union personnel, including the superintendent, and an executive session pursuant to General Law, Chapter 30A, Paragraph 21A3, to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining with the Mashpee Teachers Associations, and that after we enter close executive session, we will reconvene in public meeting. Do I have a motion to that?
Yes.
Thank you.
I'm not going to read it again, though.
Okay, is there a second to the motion?
I'll second.
Okay, is there a discussion on the motion, Nicole?
No.
Okay, a vote. Kathy?
Yes, sorry.
Jeff?
Yes.
Tom? Nicole?
Yes.
And George, yes. We will now enter into executive session.